Welcome, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you guys can hear me okay. So this is deep dive number 6, and we have Martin and Tate, who are longtime founders in the ArWeave ecosystem. They're going to talk about building a team, something that they have a lot of experience with. And then also, I just wanted to announce that this is the last deep dive before Demo Day, which is like the grand finale of the Open Web Foundry 5. If anyone hasn't received their invite yet for Demo Day, please email jesse@arweave.org, and I'll get that sorted out for you. So thank you, everyone. And Tate and Martin, if you guys want to stand on these tiles up here, and then you guys can start.
Ooh, sorry, missed the tile. Okay, I think, am I, okay, I'm spotlighted.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, thank you all for being here today, and thanks for the introduction and the opportunity to present, Jesse. We're super excited about this. So let me share my screen really quick. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yeah, looks good.
Alrighty. Okay, so Martin, sorry, it's not letting me. That's okay. Martin and I are going to be presenting building a team today, which is just sort of a combination of the things that we've learned along the way as we've built our team up over this year, along with some tips that we've received from other experienced individuals also in the space. So we'll start with introductions. So my name's Tate Berenbaum. I'm one of the founders of the Verto protocol, and I work with Martin every day on on building out both Verto and ArConnect. So that's a little bit about me. I recently graduated high school and am taking a gap year right now, with the intention of staying full time in the ArWeave ecosystem. And it's it's been an amazing ride. I discovered ArWeave in late 2019, and it's just been so cool to see how the ecosystem has evolved and progressed throughout the years at this point. So please meet my colleague Martin. Martin will give a few words about himself now.
Hey guys, so as Tate, I'm also 18 years old, developer, and I'm mainly interested in front end and good designs. So Tate brought me in actually into ArWeave, and since then we founded ArConnect and Verto together, and we really do have an amazing theme. So I thought that the least I could do is to share how we achieved this group and how we managed to create this great theme. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So first off, I'm gonna just talk a little bit about Verto, because Verto is our main project, and our first one too. So Verto is a decentralized exchange on ArWeave, and you can trade profit sharing tokens, NFTs, basically all kinds of tokens on our protocol. So we used to operate with trading posts to achieve this kind of decentralized trading mechanism. And right now we are working on switching to a more modern and smart fee-based order book contract to achieve full decentralization, I guess.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll give a little bit of context on our team. So our original team started as 4 members. We were all friends that decided we were working on a previous project, and we decided that an exchange needed to exist in the ArWeave ecosystem and didn't exist yet for profit sharing tokens, which were brand new at the time. So we decided to go down the rabbit hole and build out a decentralized exchange, which became Verto. And since then, well, so for timeline, that was back last September. We shipped our MVP for Verto.exchange. Since then, we've grown our team to 10 members. And as you can see on the map, we're a very global, like spread out team. We have 10 people across 7 different time zones. And so naturally, with the pandemic and the travel restrictions, all of this work has been completely remote. And I personally have only met one of our team members in person to this day. Everyone else has been remote. So it's been a very interesting experience of like trying to grow a community, a startup, a protocol in this type of environment. But hopefully this presentation can give you some tips on doing the same if that's the situation that that you might end up in now or in the future. Okay, so first off, I wanted to talk a little bit about internal team communication, because that's a very important piece of actually building the thing that you need to start the community around. So, we have a few tips on balancing communication across different time zones. And also, like, one of the hardest challenges that we've come across to date is like building, maintaining and developing like a culture in this like remote team and remote work environment across all the time zones. So let's start with balancing synchronous and async communication. So for us, each week we have multiple, always at the same time, multiple scheduled chats on Google Meet, where as many people as possible join into the Google Meet and we discuss various topics. So like, for example, on Monday, we have a Verto product sync where we sync specifically on Verto itself. It's every day at 11 a.m. Eastern time, which works for about 80 to 90% of our team members on average. So we do as much as we can to find a time that works for as many people as possible across all the time zones. On Tuesday, we have an ArConnect product sync because we manage both Verto and ArConnect. On Wednesday, we have a development sync. So anybody that has technical questions can hop on that sync. And we discuss on Google Meet any of the questions, comments, or concerns that people have as they're building out this software. And then on Friday, to wind down after the end of the week, we have just a weekly Friday team meeting where everyone sort of reports the work that they've been doing, what they've accomplished, if they have any blockers, and what they're planning on working on next week. And so that's sort of the system that we've fallen into over the past few months, and it's working out pretty well. I feel that in general, like everyone is in sync. But for the people that can't make the meetings, we also record all the meeting notes on Notion. So we have this Notion page, this Notion dashboard that our community manager called HQ. And it basically has all the documents that you would need if you're a team member inside of the protocol. Or inside of our company working on the protocol. So our meeting notes are there. We also have roadmaps. We also have like more granular Kanban boards / to-do lists. Just all of the things that you would typically have in managing a team. We choose Notion, and we really like Notion. Highly recommend it. And then for everything else that's more like conversation based, we use Discord. So the beautiful thing about Discord is that you can have your community as a Discord server, but inside of that community, you can also have channels that are dedicated to just team members conversing. And so in our Verto Discord server, we have a few private channels that are focused on discussing, we have like a private chat for anything that needs to be discussed in private. Then we have off topic. And we also have some more granular channels for like marketing and communications or different product channels and things like that. And we find that really works well because asynchronous is by far the easiest way to actually communicate with all the different time zones that we have right now. So we really like Discord for that purpose. And then second part, building culture in a remote team can be very difficult because we're all interacting with the computer, not staring at each other like face to face in person. And so some of the things that we've been thinking about to sort of help our culture as we grow and evolve as a company and protocol are a few things. Number one is we like to focus on collaboration whenever and wherever possible. So, for example, Martin and I, and Martin and a few other team members as well, like to hop on live share coding sessions. So, like in Visual Studio, there's this plugin that you can add called Visual Studio Live Share, and it basically turns your workspace where you would write code into like a Google Doc, so that other people can join and write code with you. And we found that that's really helpful in, number one, like helping other team members get onboarded into your code base from the technical perspective. And number two, it really helps with the interaction. And also from those really beneficial synchronous chats, we find that great discussions happen both off topic and off topic. As we're, if we're waiting on something to build, we can start talking about something else, and just learning, bonding with each other is really helpful. So live share is really helpful for developers. We are also planning to begin having team retreats next year. So we want to do at least 2 team retreats every year, where as many people in the team as possible go meet up somewhere in person, where we just focus purely on culture and bonding with each other. So we haven't had one of those yet, but we're really looking forward to being able to do that, because I think that that'll also really help us cement those relationships that we're building with each other. And then the third one is a little bit counterintuitive, but we're also finding that it works very effectively to build culture by engaging in off-topic discussions when appropriate. So we have like a private off-topic channel inside of our Discord, where people kind of just put whatever they want. So Andres, for example, on the 17th, just a few days ago, asked what the current temperature was where people were living, and that got like a surprisingly good amount of interactions, and was sort of a conversation starter. And so things like that are kind of weird, because it's like people aren't thinking about work right now, but it's still helping because people are developing relationships by learning more about each other, and as we learn about the different environments that we live in. Cool. Martin.
Yeah. So yeah, another important thing, or topic, I guess, when building a team and maintaining that build team, is focus, of course, and creative freedom. So of course, it is really important to have a roadmap, for example, to be able to plan your next steps, your next moves, and to really focus on what you're doing right now and what your team is doing right now. A mission statement and articulating a vision is also necessary. And the best way to really help people feel ownership over the team's vision is to align their incentives with the protocol's incentive. And once, or I guess the best solution for this is using profit sharing tokens, because that's useful for the team and for the protocol and for the user as well, or sorry, the developer as well. And of course, another really important thing is to stay open-minded to new ideas. Everyone can have a genius idea for a new, like, amazing feature or product. And an example for this would be actually ArConnect. So ArConnect, I started ArConnect as a weekend project with the full support of my team. And I saw that the ecosystem was missing a secure way to handle key files. And ArConnect was the perfect way to fill this gap, because it signs transactions without sharing the user's key file with the apps. And was started as a small weekend project, became a standard, like widely adopted solution. And ArConnect is now one of the main projects of Verto, and it generates hundreds, if not even thousands, of community income for the Verto profit sharing token owners. So this is a great example how just one idea could change the whole, I guess, direction of the team, and how one idea can add such a giant value to the ecosystem and to the protocol.
Awesome. Yeah. So to discuss a little bit more about the what Martin was saying about roadmap, mission, and vision, the steps here sort of outline what we've done to create a concrete vision, and how we can best articulate that through a mission statement and through our roadmap. So first off, we started by thinking through what our core themes and focus was in this ecosystem, in this community, how we wanted to add value, and we created a mission statement around that. And so you can actually find that if you go to like blog.theta.org. We have a statement of purpose blog that you can read, and that actually has our statement of purpose as well as the mission statement at the bottom. And so with those themes, those values, and that mission statement, we sat down and we built a very comprehensive 6-month roadmap, which outlined very granular objectives that we wanted to reach by the end of this 6 months. And this was helpful because it was very effective in communicating to every single team member what specifically we wanted to accomplish in this 6 months. And also the beautiful thing about the mission statement is that it helps develop the roadmap, because you should be centering the objectives for your roadmap around the mission statement. And so that really helps, because your community can then look at your roadmap and your mission statement and say, okay, that makes total sense. And because this makes sense, here's an idea that I have, and I also think that this makes sense because it's centered around the mission statement too. And then in a decentralized governance system, they can propose that idea in the future if they want somebody to work on it, and garner the support to do that. So it's kind of a way to create we're at the beginning stages of this right now, but the goal is to create a living, breathing roadmap that is completely powered by the community, centered around this mission statement. And then the other thing that we found to be very helpful is spending a lot of time articulating the vision that we have to other people. So this, you articulate it to team members, articulate it to investors, articulate it to family members, friends, anybody. As many people as you can actually explain the vision that you have to, and be coherent and understandable in the process of doing so, the better you'll be at actually pitching that vision when you need to invest, or when you need to get investment, or when you're talking with team members, discussing the vision with team members to get the team members hooked on the idea as well. And so another thing that we found to be pretty helpful, and got to give credit to Sam for this tip, was to give ownership over the vision, by aligning the incentives of the people, of the team members, with the protocols through vested tokens. And so basically what that means is, if you're contributing to the Verto protocol, it means one thing to receive a salary from our organization for contributing to the Verto protocol. But, if this person actually wants to feel a vested interest in the protocol and wants to help it find success, the best way to make them feel that ownership is by granting them tokens, so that they can experience part of that upside as the work that they're doing positively affects the protocol over time, through the profit sharing element, as well as Martin mentioned. And so it looks like the SVG of the logo got a little bit deformed in the corner, but if you can see the logo down there, that is the Community XYZ logo. And Verto, the Verto token is based on Community XYZ. Community XYZ is an immensely powerful platform for people to use who want to create profit sharing communities and decentralize the governance around their communities inside of the Arweave ecosystem. So this is like, here, Community XYZ is an example of a perfect solution for you if you are thinking about these types of things, or if you have the interest in thinking about these types of things. So you can find that at community.xyz. Cool. So the other thing, the other side of the coin from internal communication is external communication. How do you find a way to connect with your community, build the community, and make good interactions with community members so that they can contribute to you. You can help communicate to them to make sure that everything is is on track, going well. So what we found in the process of building out Verto and ArConnect is the more communication, the better. We're working on employing the philosophy of developing in public. So even from the most granular standpoint of every line of code that we write, that line of code should be published to GitHub so that the community can see that. And a great example of this is like ArConnect. ArConnect is a completely public extension, and it will always be public. So that community members can trust that when they are installing this extension to help them manage their key files, they know that we're not going to take those key files and run off with them or upload them to some server, which is extremely insecure. And even if they don't trust that our organization managed extension won't do that, they can still go to the code base and build the extension for themselves and manage it themselves, so that they don't even have to trust us if they don't want to. So we enjoy employing developing in public for that reason, for the trust reason, as well as for the reason of it helps for people. Like, the more publicly facing things you have, the more things the public has to see and interact with. So for developers, in developers' cases, if somebody is interested in contributing to ArConnect or Verto, they can very easily go into our GitHub organization and open a PR, a pull request, if they'd like. And we found that keeping everything public really is very conducive to receiving those types of, just help from community members, which is very helpful for us as we're small and rapidly iterating. And so we also are very heavy users, as I mentioned, of GitHub, of Discord previously. But we also are huge fans of Argora and Twitter. Argora is a project in this ecosystem as well. I'm trying to see if Axel's in here. I think he is. Hey, Axel. But basically, Argora is a great way for you to communicate with your community in a trustless, decentralized way. And they also created an Argora bridge. So when you post an announcement to Argora or an update to an Argora profile, they have a bridge that will automatically post that to Twitter as well. And so engaging with the community as much as possible through these public channels, we found to be extremely helpful. And also, like, to sort of, I suppose I should address like well, if everything's public, what if someone steals what you're doing and tries to rip you off, and take advantage of everything that you have publicly facing? And the truth of the matter is, that's likely going to happen at some point if what you're building does grow and find success. But the beauty of it is, if you're a good enough team, you shouldn't be afraid of that, because you guys are the ones that came up with this. You can continue iterating, continue building out this roadmap, continue coming up with ideas that these other people are going to have to copy to compete with you. And so, competition really should not be, I would argue, should not be a focus in Web3, because regardless of what happens, the community is getting a really good protocol. And you are getting community members interacting with that protocol, which helps you as well. So don't I wouldn't recommend spending too much time worrying about competition, because especially within the Arweave ecosystem, competition is really almost non-existent. Like, people are so collaborative and friendly here. So the more that you share, the more relationships you can build with others, and the more collaborative everything will be. And people just generally appreciate that as well. Cool.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. We had an amazing time talking to you. Yeah, I'm sure, like, we all wish that you have good luck with your projects. And yeah, remember that for a great product, the most important is having a good team. So yeah, thank you for your attention and have a great day.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Tate. Thank you, Martin. That was excellent. If anyone has any questions, we're going to stick around for a little bit more in the mingle area, so feel free to stick around. And thank you guys, everyone, for coming, and I'll see you in a minute.
Thank you, guys.